Welcome to the Demiurge's crazy world. In the annals of history, certain tales stand out, not for their grandeur, but for their sheer improbability. Picture this: Tsutomu Yamaguchi, an ordinary Japanese man. It's 1945, and Yamaguchi is in Hiroshima when the first atom bomb explodes. Astonishingly, he survives. 3 days later, he's home in Nagasaki. Then the unthinkable: a second atom bomb detonates. Yamaguchi survives again, becoming the only recognized person to have endured 2 nuclear explosions. His story, a testament to human resilience, is a stark reminder of the destructive power we wield. Join us next time as we dive into more of the Demiurge's crazy world. Remember, history is often stranger than fiction. Until then, stay curious.
Heresy shouldn't be this much fun, but it is. It really is, especially with that intro that might surprise a lot of you, but I just couldn't help it. I put it together real quick. Use clanker, not exactly the message I wanted, but it just shows the dichotomy of life. Is this some absurd, crazy dream by the demented magician that Philip K. Dick spoke about, or is this a test of our resilience and how we can overcome things? And this story has always fascinated me. And I remember it fascinated Gordon White at the same time. We brought it up in the same show for some reason after recently learning about it, like I think it was pre-COVID days. But yeah, that is Tsutomu Yamaguchi. He is the only person to ever survive having 2 atom bombs dropped on his ass. I mean, what are the odds? He was a Japanese government worker, and he was an engineer, and he was, yes, he was indeed in Hiroshima on August 6, 1945. He was about 3 kilometers from ground zero when the little boy atomic bomb detonated, resulting in ruptured eardrums, temporary blindness, and severe burns. So you think that should be enough? I mean, gee, talk about something you could share on social media, right? No, no. Despite his injuries, he spent the night in an air raid shelter and returned home to Nagasaki the following day. On August 9th, while recounting the horrors of the Hiroshima blast to a supervisor, the second atomic bomb, Fat Man, was dropped on Nagasaki and he survived. Again, what a strange story, but it's certainly a tale about what we can survive, even in the absurdity of timing and often dark synchronicities. So, welcome to those who are here. I hope you've had a good holiday weekend. I hope you've enjoyed all the festivities. I know this is sort of the end of the holiday weekend, and it's a Sunday night, but I felt I needed to do this update about my health situation and perhaps share some other stuff. If you have any questions, we can make this an AMA if you want. Whatever you going to do, whatever you want. Let's see where this goes. Somebody said, Miguel, when will you be doing the intros again before your shows? Man, I don't know, True Seeker. It's hard because after years of YouTube and other platforms censoring me, it's hard to do these intros. And but I have been sneaking a few here and there, and some have gotten through the algorithms. I did a couple, but those are behind the paywall because I know at least there, yeah, they won't get me, but they are there in Patreon and other places. But so it is, but maybe I'll go back because I know people miss them. So I'll have more about the 4th of July. Vance is in the background. He is moondogging the night away, so he could probably take your questions too. We are also streaming live on Patreon for everybody. So if you have any questions or comments, let me know. Let me know. So first of all, I have to say I am truly grateful beyond belief about your support, and in all sorts of ways, the way you have come to help me during this period, again, in different ways, and it's just been amazing. and I can't thank you enough. You are truly amazing, and I am truly blessed. And together we shall continue one way or another. Having said that, there are some, you might say, curveballs that have been thrown at me concerning this situation. First, I should say I wish I would have done it earlier since I got the test the week before, but I had to go to a wedding, and it was in Minnesota, south of the Twin Cities. A very nice wedding. I drove there for it was a 6-hour drive back and forth. I must admit, I thought, of course, being the typical man, I would be okay. But after 2 hours, it was God, it was painful. My hips and legs were in so much pain, and I just kept my mouth shut and just gritted my teeth and made it through. And in a way, it was kind of therapy because what I did is through the pain and everything, I just let all my thoughts come out. My kids had taken over the phone; they were listening to their shows and their music, and I just let all these thoughts. And it was a great exercise, especially for my mental health, for my manic depression, because part of overcoming these things is to understand there is to be the observer. There is not to identify with the observed, the crazy monkey thoughts that come out and just make their way through the corridors of our consciousness, but to realize that we are not them and just let these monkey thoughts, these with Tico, go have fun and create these dark fantasies and stupid ideas, and just for 6 hours just let them float around, and I stared at them without judgment. I entertained them, and eventually I just laughed at them, and in a way it was good therapy. And again, the wedding was great. Other than that, I must admit it has been not that painful, even driving a car for 6 hours in this condition. Your help, your prayers, your energy, your magic, I think really has helped me. And something I wanted to show you is, yes, turmeric and ginger. So many great emails about advice, and I realized that a commonality was turmeric and ginger. And yes, I am not trying to sell this product. This is just what I got from Amazon. And people would tell me it's really helped them with their arthritis, with other back conditions. So I started taking it, started following again your different types of exercises and poses. Again, many of you are sending healing light, and now it's, instead of being just sort of bone crunching white light pain sometimes when I walk, it's just painful. It's really become bearable. Even at the wedding, I was, after getting out of the car, I was like, oh, gotta carry these suitcases. I was able to carry the suitcases, but then at the lobby, I just told my wife, I've got to sit there for 10 minutes because I am, again, not in unbearable pain, but very, I can handle the pain too. And it's also helped too. I got this cane because the other canes were from, my parents that I said that they bought 40 years ago in Tenochtitlan, Mexico. So I got this cane, and 3 weeks ago, when I was at the Chicago Paranormal Convention to do a talk on Elvis, and it's a great convention, shout out to Jack. I had to use the cane to walk around and do other things. Now I just walk through the wedding. Just last week, I was able to walk around just with a limp, and very few people noticed it because again, I just wasn't gonna bring that up. So yeah, your advice, your gnosis, your support has made this more than bearable, and I really appreciate, and I appreciate you being here. uh so with that said, what's the latest news? Again, I want to keep you guys I want to keep you guys in the loop because again, you've been so supportive and you keep asking questions and so forth. So this is the show to do it. Let's see. Well, again, as I mentioned, I did a MRI, and for both my spine and a neurological test. I'll go with the neurological test first. Uh, First, surprising the technician, I do have a brain. Somehow for the male gender, I was given a brain. That was surprising. But beyond that, and my dad joke, what was really interesting, and my doctor got the results, and he said this is the most Aeon Byte result that he could have thought because there is nothing wrong with my brain. Everything is fine. Whoa, yes, 5th of July, they're still going to be blowing, still going to be blowing fireworks. Yes, as I'm outside here on the porch. Probably get worse as it gets darker. But anyway, he said it was the most Aeon Byte result he had because my brain was fine, except for a small benign cyst on my pineal gland. So, I mean, who would have had it, right? A small cyst in my third eye, the pineal gland. And he said he even measured it because perhaps some of you who are into numerology says this cyst is 11 millimeters by 6 millimeters by 9 millimeters. Well, actually 8.6. I don't know what that means. The doctor says it's benign, but he advised he advised that in about a year ago, check it out again to make sure this hasn't grown. It's not something like a mind parasite or something like that. So that's what's happened. The brain is fine. Nothing there in the brain. Yes, as somebody said in the chat, a fourth eye, perhaps, perhaps. Who knows? He said that the gray matter is turning white, but he said that goes with age and just basically make sure you do things to keep your brain well. People of our age, right? Read, use your mind, all that other stuff, exercise, so that the white doesn't take over the gray part of the brain. So that was fine in the neurological side. Pineal. I always mispronounce it. I don't know why. Third eye. But then came the results for my spine. And guess what? There's nothing there. Absolutely nothing wrong with my spine. It's not spinal stenosis. Yes, there is a little bit of arthritis there, but that my doctor said that just goes with age. People are our age when we're like, oh, my back in the morning or something, little aches. Very normal, but nothing to be concerned for. So my doctor and I were obviously extremely confounded because we already had a plan to this spinal stenosis. I mean, I still can't walk. My left foot is still numb. It's still an issue to move around or be mobile, and we don't know what it is. It has nothing to do with the spine. So what do we do? What do we do? Well, we throw out the plan that we had, doing chiropractic work, doing acupuncture, physical therapy, certain types of medicine, both holistic and Western, and all out the door. In a way, it was disappointing because I was ready to go to war and get through this, get through this. So now, of course, the answer is more tests. What else can you do? So next week, let me light a cigarette. Next week, I'll be doing an ultrasound through my leg and the left part of my body and blood work. And hopefully we can see what the issue might be. Again, my doctor's so cool. He's, an Aeon Byte listener, as Gnostic as I am, all that. Great with both Eastern and Western modalities. So we thought beyond the occult, magic attack, something like that, completely mental. I don't know. The worst case scenario would be early MS or Parkinson's disease. It could be a nerve disease, clavicular nerve pain on my leg. The nerves are dying and they're dead. And those would be the worst case scenarios. In the middle would be diabetes. Although diabetes kind of doesn't make sense to you. I mean, I've never had anybody with diabetes in my family. It just doesn't run in my family. I thought at least it had to be hereditary in some way, or gene related. But that's kind of the middle one. Diabetes. Yes, it is possible to lose your, your mobility and your hip motion and all that. And then there is the best case scenario after we do the test would be something as vitamin B6, vitamin B6 deficiency. Yes, there are cases that some people don't get enough vitamin B6 or another vitamin, and boom, they cannot walk. They've got spine pain, all that. There are cases, so perhaps we hope it could be just some sort of vitamin deficiency that the blood work will catch, and all I need is to just take shots of vitamins and we are out of the woods. So I don't know, or maybe it's something if it's something psychosomatic, God forbid what trauma I've been suppressing. I don't know. So that's the update I have for you. And I wish I was on a path to fight the enemy, to fight the empire that is my body, my meat sack, to make it better. But it's still in the great unknown. But at least, again, as I mentioned, through your help, the pain is no longer just unbearable, white light crunching where I was having trouble doing anything. At least I am able to do more things a little bit better, and it's just painful. And it's just, but again, I still can't walk more than a block and so forth. Still can't do a lot of things that I used to. So, but we'll find out. We'll find out, and of course, I will keep you abreast of the latest things, the latest results, and so forth. And I'm still amazed at our American healthcare. It really is something else. It's can't believe how broken it is, how chaotic it is, what a labyrinth it is. But again, every election will just go by. Nobody will stand up and fix it. I guess we create our villains every election or every election cycle. And somehow we always let the military industrial complex and the pharmaceutical military and complex somehow off the hook with these things. The huge egregores that are doing a lot of darkness to this country. I mean, I would go, for example, I had to do a lot of work and my doctor helped me too, but like calling a hospital for an MRI and going, $3,000. And I'm like, crap. So then you call some lab here and there and call these independent labs and well, it's $1,500 or 1,800, and you got to keep looking and looking until you find a lab that is more manageable. Same with blood work. It's amazing how they will gouge prices like in the thousands of dollars. And if you do a lot of work and sometimes cajole them or ask them, well, what if I pay you cash? They'll bring down the price. So it's insane. It really is insane. Even something like meds. I remember when I first was working in a corporate job, I'd go get my physical and it's all free. Of course, it's all overcharged and to the insurance company and it's all part of their boondoggle. But the doctor would offer me these meds for cholesterol and all this stuff, and I'd be like, "Doctor, this shit is way too expensive." And he'd be like, "Yeah, but there's a secret pharmacy, in this part of town where it's about, 90% cheaper." It's like, "Well, why is this not the norm?" So I would go to this pharmacy. I had the money back then, I was on insurance, but I would go to this pharmacy. But most people don't know this. Most people just get swept away in the system. It's terrible. It's tragic. Everybody's just one sickness away from ruin. And even staying healthy, as I've tried most of my life, sooner or later, something's going to happen to me or you or a member of the family. And for the record, I never took all these meds this doctor wanted me to take me for cholesterol shit. It's like, no, I'll just work out more or something. I'll do holistic, and it worked fine with me. So as I smoke here, but it really is something else. It's as a friend once told me, the mistake that this country did or the West did is hospitals are supposed to have the sign of Asclepius, which is the rod with one serpent. That's a Asclepius. That is healing. But some hospitals had the have the rod of Hermes with the two serpents. And yes, Hermes can heal in certain mythologies, but you're bringing in that trickster energy in, and I think that's on purpose. I think if the medical community, we should have not brought in the archetype or archetypal force of Hermes as much as he's, one of my favorite figures, one of my patrons. We should have left it just to Asclepius, but it is what it is, right? Yep. You're right, Christina Marie. We bring in the trickster, and this is our modern healthcare in the United States. I know that if things got worse, I could easily go to Portugal and go get treatment there for free, but that would be another whole lot of kettle of fish and issues and other things, even though their healthcare is free, but it's got its own problems, right? So that's yeah, that's all healthcare too. And even my doctor's like, your GoFundMe went very well, but dude, we can play this game of Hermes against Hermes, but if we get to specialists, there's no way around it, and they are extremely expensive. So he's like, take it easy. Let's keep finding, no matter what it is, let's keep finding cheaper ways to cut costs and all these other things. And unfortunately, I'm not alone in this. And for those of you who've been in this situation with your health and everything, you have 100% my empathy and my prayers and everything else. So that's the world today. So this is where I am, and this is where we will find out what it is. Yeah, diabetes, I know, my doctor said he doubted it because he did, like, these foot tests with me when my numb foot, and he said what he thought was stenosis was that my foot was warm. Usually in cases of diabetes or nerve damage, person's foot is cold, but when he was, like, doing all these exercises and hitting my foot that is still numb, it was warm and normal, so that's why he went for the spinal stenosis, and because my hip was in so much pain and still is in pain. It seemed like the normal thing, but we shall see. We shall see what happens, and I'm confused, and I hope to keep you guys updated on all this stuff. Um, that's it, really, for my health update. I wanted to say, yeah, it is my Saturn return. I wrote that because yes, the old man has been teaching me things. He's been definitely testing me. Remember, I don't know if you guys remember in August, I had this horrible jaw infection where the doctors couldn't tell what it was. It wasn't hadn't to do with my teeth and nothing. It just my jaw got so infected. I couldn't do podcasts. I could barely get out of bed. We finally got the right antibiotics and it went away. So Saturn has been testing me. As I tell friends, my biggest fear would probably be it is psychosomatic and there's some trauma I have to deal with. And the fact that all that would happen is this I grow a little bit out of this. I get a little bit of wisdom, which is what happens in life. And I'm like, no, if I'm going to go through this and all the things I've gone through, I want transformation. I want what the mystics have. I want what the alchemists are shooting for. I want something new to come out with from me so that I can have a greater purpose. I can be more of use for you and have more avenues for my own self knowledge, which again always leads to the benefits of humanity and fixing this universe. So I don't want to grow. I want to transform and I want to be a new being because I think that's the whole point when you are thrown into these extremely challenging times that we have today. I think I see some super chats here. New member, Paranormal Mail. Yes. Thank you very much for supporting the show and joining Aeon Byte. I will be putting out a new Abraxas brief tomorrow. It will have to do with Jung, so look it in the member section. Also, of course, it will be for patrons and AB Prime members and so forth. See, Eric Alexander 933. Thanks for the support. Appreciate it. Gave what I could for the GoFundMe, really hoping for the best for you and your family, Miguel. Why is everybody going through hard times as of late? I think everybody is by design. I think this is the realignment that started in 2020, and this is the pressure cooker, the frogs in boiling water. the changing, the extraction of the last loosh from the working and middle class. This is it. I mean, in 2020, you had the biggest transference of wealth to the higher classes ever, and nobody seems to talk about it. This is robbery. So, and this year, from what I hear, mystics are going through their challenges, and I've talked to so many, and of course, we've lost a lot of great, great voices, great lights like Gordon, Stephen Heller, Peter Carroll, Dave Wilcox. Sadly, left us. I wish he'd gotten some help. He was never my kind of thing. His what he did, but still, he was here, and he was here with the fight. He had something to offer and some light. So I hear a lot of mystics are getting their asses kicked, and I'm sure it's by design. I don't know exactly what's going on in the chessboard of the archons, who, when, why, but I do have heard from pretty good astrologers, if you're into that, like Ronnie Pontiac and Maja Dao, that there is relief coming this summer. But again, the war continues. We are the veterans of 1,000 psychic wars. So your guess is as good as mine. I'm still in the fog of war for everything that's happened to me this year, from the financials through the almost losing the house, to Gordon, through so many other things, and of course through this health issue. But I'm sure there will be clarity sooner or later. From Brett Bernhoff, thank you very much for that little support. Really appreciate it. Thank you for all the years of interviews and generosity you have put out into the world. I wish you the best on your journey to health and wellness. Thank you. The same to you. I wish complete health to you, and may Asclepius always be by your side, and Hermes too, but for the right reasons, right? For the right reasons. Uh, Anything else? Yeah, Gordon passed away recently. That is true. Well, Vince, do you want to jump on stage? Anything from you, or any questions that I might have missed from the audience?
I think you got them all. Looking through the super chats here. One thing I was thinking about, there's two things that come to mind with respect to what you're going through. Number one, the human body, on the one hand, is like extremely clever and intricate and has so much, so many things in it to try to fight against bad health, right? On the other hand, we still have it. So if the demiurge is the designer of the world and hence the human body, um, did he just wasn't smart enough to do a good job so that we won't get sick, or B, did he just give us enough to keep going, but then like throws these little things at, did he deliberately design it so that we'd suffer like we do sometimes?
Yeah, that's a good question, right? People have been asking that. I think tomorrow we're having a private stream with Kevin Can, and he's going to share how to tame the demiurge, how he spent years being tortured by Yaldi Baldi in person. It was his plaything, and how he was able to bring the demiurge to be nice to him. So there'll be some good advice for you. But I think in one scene that Yaldi Baldi took him to the beginning of time, to the first proteins and all that, and he was like,
Oh,
look at this amazing thing," and he still thinks he's the only god, because that's,
of course.
look what I'm making. I'm the grand designer. But he sort of started it, and it sort of went haywire. He started it. So maybe he doesn't know every iteration, or can't be bothered, because, yeah, we are complex meat sacks. I mean, one
Very.
cell goes wrong and we've got cancer. But yeah, but I do believe the human body does have an incredible power to heal, and especially to understand, especially when it understands itself. And I think a lot of me feeling better is your support. I think that we can, the mind can overcome and heal the body, and with the power of others, it can happen. So
Yeah, that was my other thought, which is, why isn't it easier for us to, when things strike us like that? I mean, I've got my own issues. I am like always sore. I can't stand very long and so forth. Almost similar to what you're going through, but mine has been progressive over like probably 20 years or more. first I
Mm,
couldn't stand. I remember walking around in New York and oh my back, I'd have to bend over and stretch, and then I could walk for a little more. And now it's gotten to the point where, it's kind of hard. Probably part of it's being sedentary. My work doesn't
right.
uh, involve much physical motion or whatever. And I work from home, so I don't even go to work anymore. Like get up, drive in the car, walk into the office or anything. But yeah, yeah. Why can't we, through the power of our minds, like counteract these things? That's uh, that's the
Good,
question.
but they kind of made us forget these things. They told us we
Yeah.
have no telepathy. They told us a lot of things to make us forget about our inheritance and our innate powers. So sometimes
Maybe
it's when you have your back against the wall that you have to draw upon them.
we can try to remember.
That's it. All learning is remembering. That's why we're here, to remember who we are. So yeah, it's been quite an adventure. I also wanted to mention too, since it's 4th of July, I wanted to bring some stuff up. I know 4th of July, I think we talked about it with Mitch in our interview last week, but I think the more I think about it, the United States is, I personally, I don't know if I'm proud to be an American, but I'm certainly grateful to be an American. It's a great country, great people. Of course, it has its shadow side. Every country, every person, that's just a universal law. As Jung said, the bigger the light, the bigger the shadow. And the United States has a big shadow, but we don't need to be hanging the shadow over us in this guilt thing. We can integrate the shadow and move on. I always like what Doctor Who said in one episode, where the only time that he came, Matt Smith was playing Doctor Who, and he came to the United States. Says America is the land of second chances. I think this is a country of redemption, regeneration, and reinvention. And I would not be surprised if this country, at least from the Western standard, was a Freemason Rosicrucian experiment, something that came up through Queen Elizabeth and John Dee and some of the others. That's why some of these big buildings appeared before. And this is just, the United States is just one big alchemical experiment. But it is amazing. It is amazing. And there's so much magic and power in this land. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, as Philip K. Dick, the empire never ended, and sometime probably in 1913, the hologram shifted and the dark force that is the empire took over, and we have not been a republic for a long time, but that is something that can be reversed. Speaking again of Gordon, I remember asking him that question. I said, well, the empire is not forever, right? It always has to shift. The hologram shifts and it takes on a new form. What's next? And he said, this is like 2016. I asked him that. He said, well, now it's going to be Silicon Valley joining with Chinese productivity. It's the end of the nation state. It's over. So I don't know if he's right. I don't know if you guys there in the chat would agree with that, but it will be interesting where the empire goes again. But as far as the United States, yeah, don't be down on it. Don't be down on it. I think for those of you who watch the World Cup, you're seeing how foreigners are coming here and seeing just how kind people are, how friendly people are, and that we have our own. This country has its own magic, its own culture, and its own ethos, if you would. So I'm glad to be here, even though here in Northern Illinois it was a very rainy, stormy weekend. So fireworks and outdoor activities was not something that was meant to be. But it happens. It happens. I did have a few slides I wanted to share with you guys. So we don't just talk about the health issue. I want to give you always a little bit extra. Now, this was my meme that I put out. And this is from the Apocalypse of Adam when talking about the Gnostics, and he calls them the generation without a king. And that's something you also find in some of the Sethian writings, that the Gnostics, like the founding fathers, decided, no, we have our own, I don't know, hermetic way out of this. We have complete sovereignty over who we are and our being and so forth. And the Gnostics, this sort of anarchist ideal, is very rare throughout history. You can find it as in places like early Taoism, the pre-monarchical Hebrews before they were dumb enough to get Saul. You can find it with the Cynics, of course, of Diogenes. The Epicureans also talked about it, and so forth. Very rare. Unfortunately, most metaphysical systems really somehow want you to give, regardless whether it's a cult or not, want you to give part of your being to the ruling powers of this world. And of course, they are just an extension of the archons. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not like the Gnostics in the second century were going to stand up to Marcus Aurelius or Emperor Hadrian and, like, we don't want it. This is the world of the archons, but your inner state of freedom, especially if you cultivate it and tap into your inner magic, can lead to some amazing things, like, again, the founding fathers overthrowing the British Empire. So it can happen. So I wanted to share this on this 4th of July weekend. Now, of course, I put this meme up, and within minutes, Chris Knowles and a few others were like, aren't you forgetting somebody? I said, no, I have no king. I am like the Gnostics. Miguel Connor has no king. Well, they were right and I was wrong. I do have a king. It's Elvis. Yes, sorry. Elvis is my king. I am a hypocrite. What am I going to do? Yes, he is the king of this country, and people want to know what it is to be American, and I tell them, go read the occult Elvis. It does show us the dark and the light side of what modern America can be, for all its potential, all its great accomplishments, but also its shadow. And in this little picture of Elvis, I have this quote that I always love from Bill Holdship that goes, Elvis is loved and he is hated. He was a genius, a fraud, a saint, the devil, the king, the clown. Even more that when he was alive, Elvis has come to symbolize everything great and everything hideous about America. And I think it still holds. So yes, I am not a generation without a king. I do have a king, is Elvis. And some days where I'm feeling a little weak, I'll throw in Michael Jackson there too, because he is the king of pop. But yes, if people, as I say, want to know how to get out of this mess and understand America, read the occult Elvis. If you want to understand how to get out of this world, check out my David Bowie book coming out in January. Now, of course, I have to throw in a little anarchism. So there's a quote by Emma Goldman. Emma Goldman, and she wrote or said, if voting changed anything, that'd make it illegal. And I always think that's true. I don't think we can, as I keep saying, nobody is coming to save you. Not Trump, not Newsom, nobody, not the Democrats, not the Republicans. We have to save ourselves, and we have to work together as a small community of light bearers and those who really don't want to be a generation without a king. We are sovereign, and as the movie V for Vendetta says, people should not be afraid of the government. The government should be afraid of the people. We have to make them afraid. Voting isn't going to work. What's going to work? Well, as I always say, self-knowledge, new ways of seeing things, new ideas. The Gnostics were hated and persecuted, not because they were out there on the streets protesting or doing anything. It's their ideas. Their ideas will make you dangerous. Your aura will make you dangerous. That's when they will see and how you are disattached from all their tricks, all the Archon tricks of giving you false identities and material delights and a sense of belonging and all that nonsense that they do to program our brains. But yeah, I agree with Emma Goldman. She was obviously one of the main anarchists in history in the early 20th century. She got kicked out of the United States. So she went to Russia or to the USSR, the newly created USSR, and she met with Lenin and she thought, well, maybe this, anarchism isn't going to survive in the Industrial Revolution and the real rulers of the United States back then, the robber barons and so forth. And so maybe the USSR will give us a better chance. And she talked to Lenin for like 5 minutes, and she was like, "Oh my God, this is just as bad," because she she believed Lenin had his ideals made sense, but Lenin was like, "Look, people are stupid. They need to be shepherded, so we're going to treat them like slaves until one day everybody's enlightened and we can have a free, equal society." And she was like, "I've heard that song and dance before." So she learned, yeah, she learned about the world and the political system. So it is what it is. But I keep telling people, stop waiting for voting to save you. And for God's sakes, don't wait for a politician to save you or make things better. It's not going to happen. As Philip K. Dick said, to fight the empires to be infected by its derangement. Even the most noble politician who goes in there, I don't think they're gonna be corrupted by the Wetiko of the government. So, but that's my stance. You believe what you want, you do what you want, but at the end of the day, the important thing is that you don't let these systems bring you down and take away your joy and your wonder, because I think that's what they're meant to do slowly. Again, frogs in boiling water. Now, this is a quote that I did my presentation on Philip K. Dick last week, and I wish I had put it in there. But kind of again here, it's from Eric Davis, and I think he nails our modern society, describing how Philip K. Dick saw the world. And Eric Davis writes, the contemporary world was just recreating the animist world that pre-modern people saw. His work captures that sense of profane technological animism, that aliveness that is not very trustworthy. Philip K. Dick was always aware of the broken. People are broken. Technologies are broken. Cosmologies are broken. Gods are broken. And I think he nails it right there. And in a way, with the way AI is going and algorithm, yeah, we do live in sort of a upside down animistic world, but that's driven by technology and data and all that. And as I mentioned in the presentation, it does seem our technology is broken. Some of us use AI, and it helps a lot, but for some reason we know AI is broken. We know the internet's broken. We know social media is broken. We certainly know that all the nice tools of our armies are working very well, they are broken. So what's going on? We've definitely degraded. We are definitely collapsing in a way. So I guess you guys let me know what you think the answer is. Obviously, I would say the answer is go back to the animistic world, to the real world of nature, and find your energy there. This one from George Orwell, I thought I'd just bring it up. They fear love because it creates a world they can't control. George Orwell, 1984. And I think that's a beautiful one because and for those of you who've read 1984, that was one of the things Big Brother wanted to do. They didn't just want to make sure that people didn't have sex or romantic relationships. They wanted to ban the orgasm, that one place where you lose control and you kind of are in a liminal place in between the worlds. I remember my Buddhist teacher telling me the only places where the ego disappears is right before we wake up, during meditation, right after we die, and right before your orgasm when you're floating. These are places of the liminal, of power. You're really free of your programmed ego and the programmed world. And I think George Orwell really nailed it with this one. I think I always say, these archons are certainly feeding off our loosh, so are our rulers. So what if we all just gave them so much love that they just couldn't take it? It would be like an ice cream headache for these people all at once. And it was unflinching, conditional love. We just gave it to them. What would the archons do? Would they transform? It certainly would exercise a lot of archon brain viruses for sure. And lastly, again, hope you're indulging me here. Again, keeping Gordon around because I want to honor him and those who have left us recently as much. And this is from the Chaos Protocols. And he wrote, properly used, magic will destroy your life. This is a feature, not a bug. Ever since modern humans first emerged into full consciousness, those who worked with spirit, be they shamans or witches or magicians, move into their tribal function only after some kind of otherworld trauma experience. Some event has to occur that provides the magician with a lasting, visceral, unshakable knowing that the universe extends beyond what can be physically observed. And I've been thinking about this, and in a way, it's right. It's why does trauma break open the doors of communication to the other world? Why? Why? I don't understand. Why does it have to do that? Why do we have to be all wounded healers, as Paul Levy said once, or shamans in training? Why? Well, probably because we are so programmed from the beginning by our tribe and our government. It might be the only way to break down, again, the false selves that we are. But by destroying your life, I'd like to think it's not exactly ruining your life, but the life of belonging is no longer there, and you are forever a separate being from the conditions and programming of this universe. So, this is something, a little wisdom I wanted to share with you guys. What do you think, Vance?
Well, I was thinking if nothing was broken, money wouldn't move. There wouldn't be any such thing as money, and nobody would have to have anything to do with each other. So we'd all be sitting here, and basically it would turn into the pleroma. So I think the very nature of the kenoma depends and is fueled by brokenness, by imperfection. It's the imperfection in our striving to overcome the imperfection, the effort of which is also broken, that defines the kenoma. I don't know if there's any way to fix it. If we ever did fix it, then we'd be in the pleroma. Of course, we're told that we're in the pleroma already, and we just haven't awakened yet. So that's my thought about it. It covers the whole thing tonight.
True. I mean, that's the whole concept of whether it's the Gnostic or the Hindu creations. If consciousness has to know itself, it has to do some tearing and breaking apart, right? There has to be, like you said, tension. There has to be iterations and experiments and moving away. It's be nice to be a puddle of eternal bliss, but then how would consciousness or the monad know itself if it doesn't experience every possibility in infinity?
Yeah, it's a movement and a rest, as somebody said.
Gospel
In the
of Thomas, yes. Yeah.
Nothing would move without being broken.
Mm-hmm.
Even an electron and a proton, they wouldn't move unless they said there's something wrong. We have to be together. I'm positive and you're negative. This is wrong. We've got to fix this. So they have to move together.
Yeah. And in some iterations, I'm Miguel with my cane, and some is Vance whose back hurts at the airport or something in New York
Everywhere.
City. Yeah, or everybody, and So it is. Yeah, it was Jan Kuliano who said the guiding principle of the universe is eros. By eros, it means that would connect. Everything's some things have to attract each other. Atoms and
Yeah.
star clouds and human beings and bunnies out there. If not, nothing would happen. But for it to fix itself, then you bring in Heraclitus and his idea of war is God or Kali. Okay, these things are joining together, but they have to be split apart to create new things and better things. So you got to bring war and destruction and violence to blow it all
Yeah.
apart and fix it. And somehow we humans are in the middle of this. Now,
It's crazy. Even love, right? I always thought of love, everybody tries to define love. And I said, basically, all love is the force that attracts two entities together.
yeah,
If you look at all the different kinds of love, friends or lovers, man and woman, getting together and getting married and having children, but they're moving because they're not complete. There's something lacking, and they get together to complete. Even in the pleroma, you have the syzygies, right? Where, one is the other. Sophia, her big mistake was to try to create without her opposite, right? So there you go. Right there is the key to understanding the kenoma. Right there.
yeah,
Broken. But we
yeah.
call it broken, but who are we to say it? Broken is bad, right?
Well, that's that song by Leonard Cohen, Hallelujah, where he says, "Love is just a broken hallelujah." It's a call to God, to the divine, but it's broken because we humans are imperfect. So, and of course, Jeff Buckley's version is the most famous version. I like the one in the movie Shrek, but so it is. What is he saying? ¿Qué pasó, amigo? The demiurge doesn't want awakened souls. He wants productive sufferers. True gnosis is choosing to grow despite the suffering, not because of it. Bingo. Well said. Yes, it is. Again, keeping the great sin in Gnosticism is ignorance. Keeping us ignorant. The mother of all sins, as the Gospel Philip says. So the demiurge and his archons and his butt slaves and catamites in the establishment want to keep us ignorant. That's how they do it. Our job is always to wake up and to cultivate self-knowledge. It's very simple. Know thyself. Know thyself. That's it. That's the way through, because we house a spark of infinity. To know that, to access that, makes us bigger and better than all the archons put together. So whether you think Yaldi has a purpose in this universe or not, he's a mistake, he needs to be corrected, or he's just part of the cosmic dance, I leave that up to you. I change throughout the day, If I stub my toe, I get really angry at the demiurge, But if I look at the sunset, I'm like, Yaldi, that's a good one. You did good today.
Well, we have our own devil, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
I often think that, if I'm tempted to think that, Orthodox Christians are always saying, "Oh, the devil this and the devil that." Well, we say the demiurge this and the demiurge that. Well, it's the same type of thing. We have to anthropomorphize our adversaries, the things that bother us, the things that impede us.
Yeah. Except the Gnostics had a better villain. I don't know. The supreme being of the universe is the bad guy. You've got quite a fight. The final boss of this video game is pretty cool, but Satan in Christianity, he's pretty low in the totem pole when you think about it. God, angels, all that. So
yeah, you got thrown out of heaven and all that.
mm-hmm.
Whereas the demiurge, well, the demiurge kind of he didn't get thrown out, but Sophia kind of threw herself out of the pleroma, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm.
And so Demiurge came along with her.
Yeah. It depends on the. There's so many really cool myths, and I've always wanted to do some audio on the different versions of the fall of Sophia, because
Oh
again, they're
yeah.
all so mysterious. And, like in the secret book of John, she has a demiurge in the pleroma, and does this cloud because she's ashamed of her birth, and she's hiding this deformed little creature, and then leaves. He steals her power and starts creating the universe, and he's like, "Oh shit, I better follow this guy." But the Valentinian one, she just falls out of the pleroma, and as she falls, her pain and sorrow through billions of years begins to make the planets and the stars and the demiurge and everything. And it's much more poetic, but just as sad. Both are very sad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Tragic. So, no, we said the fall of Sophia is a lot cooler, it has a lot more emotion and pathos than anything Christianity could have thought of, you know?
I think maybe the canoma is kind of the slum part of the pleroma, because if you think about it, the pleroma is everything, right? It's the total fullness. It contains every possibility, including the possibility of the canoma, which
Yeah.
solves the riddle of how could the monad allow this to happen? Well, it's just part of the possibilities. So it's like the canoma is the slums, and
The gutter of Philip K. Dick.
yep,
As Oscar Wilde said, we're all in the gutter, but some of us are looking at stars.
there you
So
go.
I think that is it. I mean, that's what always confuses people, because in Gnosticism, God is both transcendent and immanent. It's a great paradox. He's not here, but he's everywhere. But he is everywhere. There's no place without God, but he's not exactly here. He's beyond. So it's one of
Yeah.
the many Gnostic koans you've got to deal with.
Well, it's the form of ultimate being that we can't conceive of, because it's not a he, it's not a she, it's not an it. It's
Mm.
nothing we can conceive of. It's a pure source.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, and that's what they were trying to do. So, well, I think unless anybody has any questions, good comments as always, good theological speculation like Vance and I are doing, that we've been doing for years. Like we're no closer to enlightenment. Hopefully, we're just wiser. That's all.
It's got more wise comments, right?
Yeah. More wise comments. Hopefully, we were closer to Sophia and her blessings, and she decides to take us home when she's ready. Um, yeah, I was wondering, Vance, can you go to the website, do a share screen, and look down for the merch store? I always forget to promote the merch store, and people
Okay.
get on my ass about it. While you do that, I'll make an announcement. If you go to the God Above God and scroll down, you'll see the merch store. Pull that up. And I apologize to people. There's always so much on my mind. I always forget to do so much
Oh man.
marketing or stuff. I do wanted to mention again, we'll have a stream with Kevin, private stream for members on Kevin Can and how he tamed the demiurge. It's an incredible story, and then some great shows coming up, including I guess that will show us how the Gnostic cosmology maps to our brains, and how everything is a psychological process, even beyond Jung. So we got some good ones coming. For those, I mentioned my Philip K. Dick presentation. I have added it to the Virtual Alexandria Academy. So if you're already a member, you can get it right now for with the $20 Patreons. It's always free to get into the Virtual Alexandria. Don't forget, if you subscribe, you do get my free ebook, A God in Ruins, as Emerson called humans, and some other bonuses. But yeah, I do have the Philip K. Dick presentation, full one, there at the Virtual Alexandria Academy. Let's see if you scroll down, Vance, just a little bit more. There's that more. It keeps scrolling. One of those says, there you go. See that little one, that little square? Yeah, hit that. And we will be putting some new merch. I'm working with a very cool Nostikoi. We're going to get some really cool stuff there. But if you want to buy a t-shirt or a Abraxas mug or whatever you want, go to the merch store. I think I have it on the show notes. I always forget, but you can get it at the website. We got the shirt that always sells the best is the Not Today Archon shirt. People really like that. But again, You got plenty of other merch if you want to buy it. If you're interested, that's up to you. Shirts, I think we have sweaters, pullovers, blah, 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 stickers, mugs, whatever you want. Yes, the Gnostics were right. They were indeed right. As I've been trying to prove on Aeon Byte. So check it out. Yeah, check out the merch store if you're interested. Other than that, yeah, that's really all I got. Yeah, thanks you. Thank you, Christine Marie. Always appreciate you being here. Love Frank Side Bottom. He always has the best jokes in the chats. Maybe you have to bareback the demiurge. If you can stay on his back for 8 seconds, you break him. I don't know. I mean, that's a giant serpent. I guess I'd try, right? I guess
Only if you wear a tank top,
an American flag. Yeah.
cowboy hat.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's it. And I promise you, I will give you another update show when I get the results and my doctor can sort of figure out what the issue is in a week or two. Of course, if you have questions, please reach out to me. Again, truly appreciate your support. I do have the GoFundMe link down there if you still want to, but no need to. Again, I think we've got this right now, depending on what curveballs are thrown at me. But right now, all is good. But I thought I'd put it there if you wanted to support. But again, I really appreciate your support, your energy, your prayers, your magic, and everything else. So, I think that's it. Well, Vance, as always, thanks for keeping us company here in the Canoma.
Always my pleasure, and hope you do well and get more and more wellness as time goes on.
Indeed. We'll get there. Again, my mission is to, like Philip K. Dick, spread Gnostic gnosis in a trashy form, and that's what I will continue doing because that's my prime directive. So, yeah, and yeah, Christine Marie, yes, I will say goodbye with, as you requested, from Julian of Norwich, Lover 16 Revelations. All shall be well, and all shall be well, and all manner of things shall be well. Take care, everybody, and thanks for being here.